What could that reason be? See, I should have got this right before I started. Oh, there we go. I just had the headphones high enough for my. Okay. All right, that's a rough open, but I do want to begin this another segment as I've been trying to slowly roll out. We've been trying to slowly roll out some of these segments. And so a segment that we want to begin doing is going through news stories as they happen and when they pop up in I don't know if real time necessarily needs to be, but maybe like in a 24-hour period, just to sort of bring more awareness to stories that have some type of connection to police terrorism, mass incarceration, and racial injustice in Winnebago County that may otherwise not get spoken of. And so there was a story that ran in RR Star today that caught my eye. It was about the 6-week delay on the body cameras for the Rockford Police Department. So we've done this a few times with some other news stories and with other Rockford Register Star stories specifically. It's very similar to the Rockford readings that we do, where we go through and read the book, and in the midst of reading the book, instead of just reading it straight through, we have a dialogue about what's being highlighted in the book and how it correlates to the issues that we're facing currently when it comes to police terrorism, mass incarceration, and racial injustice. And so we're going to do the same thing with this Rockford Register Star story. So it starts out like this. It's written by Jeff Coakley. Body-worn cameras will roll out to Rockford Police Department officers this fall, about 6 weeks later than previously hoped. Rockford has already gotten a shipment of 320 body-worn cameras. The purchase was approved by Rockford City Council as part of a $3.4 million contract with Scottsdale, Arizona-based Accent Enterprise, Inc. $3.4 million. But behind the scenes, technical work to install the hardware needed for storage and preservation of evidence is complex. And demand for body cameras across the nation is so high that needed training supplied by the manufacturer, which had been expected to start later this month, was pushed back to October, Deputy Chief Kurt Wisenhand said. Pushed back to October. As you can imagine, keep going. All right, quote, as you can imagine, every department nationwide, or most departments, are looking into body-worn cameras, end quote, Wisenhand said. Quote, so the on-site training the company has to provide before we can implement the program got delayed because there are so many other customers from so many other departments, end quote. Sorry, that was a little loud. My fault. It might just be the headphones loud. In addition to the body-worn cameras themselves, the contract with Accent calls for the replacement of 120 dashboard squad car cameras over time and the installation of the equipment and software needed to extract, store, and use all the digital data for the cameras produce. The 5-year contract includes the replacement and upgrading of the body cameras after 3 years to the latest version of the technology. What the fuck type of cameras are these? That upgraded version of the technology. What the fuck kind of cameras are these? They get like a higher quality of the camera. Body cameras will require additional training for nearly 300 sworn police officers on how to operate the devices. They'll also be trained on the laws, policies, and procedures regarding their use. However, after the initial round of training, in-house Rockford police training personnel will be able to train new officers on their own. That's scary. Than some of the other things we read. Okay. Body cameras were in early demand of demonstrators. No. Damn, that's crazy. You got to be so careful with. Oh, no. Why did they use this picture? Oh, I'm going to have to smoke a blunt right now. Lord Jesus, look at this. This is the picture that they gonna pull up and use in this story. Why ain't they put Kurt Wisenhand picture up there? Kurt Whisenhand just gave a quote. Why are they not put? Now this is the first thing you see after you notice how after I read the sentence, body cameras were in early demand of demonstrators, and I had that reaction. Notice this is the next thing that I seen. That's the next thing that I seen. Is these Negroes in these blue uniforms out here working for these white men. Look at this. Why they gonna show them after they give me this nasty quote? Or give me this half truth. This is a half truth. It was multiple other things that was asked in that exact same demand. Nothing put higher or lower. But that's why you gotta be careful with demands. Body count. Do they link this to a story? Oh, they linked this to a story. Oh, okay. I see this. I see how ours start doing. I see this why they they're charging for subscriptions, huh? That's why they charging for subscriptions, huh? Oh, this shit is fucking disgusting. Jesus Christ. October 24th, 2020. 6 Ways Rockford Could Reform Policing by Jeff Coakley. Jeff Coakley, like the Kevin Durant R star, ain't he? Body. Oh no, Chris the Kevin Durant R star. Never mind. Jeff Coakley got to be Steph. Actually, never mind. Okay, so use of force, Citizens Review Board, mental health. I'm trying to find where they got these body cameras at as part of this. Okay, body cameras. All right, so this is a story that they link you to from October 24th, 2020. So right after they tell you that body cameras were an early demand of protesters, they link you to a story that, I hate to be the one to say this, but in the midst of where we at, October would not be a place where early demands will come to, or any story, or even if the story, anyways. All right. Just 24 Rockford police squad cars were equipped with dashboard video cameras in November 2017, at the time Officer Jamie Cox was killed after a traffic stop. There was no recording that could have shed light on what led to Cox to fatally shooting Eddie Patterson, 49, before the 30-year-old officer died. Since then, all frontline Rockford police cars have been equipped with cameras. And now, the city council has issued requests for proposals to equip police officers with body-worn cameras. Responses are due back at the end of October. Police Chief Dan O'Shea, Police Union Representatives McNamara, and the Community Relations Commission have backed the acquisition of cameras. Okay, that don't really shed no more light on. I thought maybe they was going to have like a story that was... it was a point in time where there were some specific demands that were set out that at the beginning of all these things, and one of those demands were body cameras, but I don't remember all of them specifically, but another one was a federal investigation into the murder of Little Mike Sago, Mark Barmore, and what's up, and multiple other people who have been killed by the police in the city. And so that's again, this is a half truth about the body cameras, and then to put that picture there is just crazy. Body cameras were an early demand of demonstrators here who were protesting the killing of George Floyd in May 2020 by a Minneapolis police officer. Rockford commanders and leaders of the Police Benevolent and Protective Association, Unit 6, that represents Rockford police officers, supported their implementation. And they were recommended by members of the Rockford Community Relations Commission. This is what it's saying underneath this picture. Rockford police officers Cheryl Woods left and Sergeant Keenan Davis demonstrate how new body cameras will be worn. Seen here at Rockford Police Department, District 3, 557 South Newtown Drive, Friday, August 6, 2021, in Rockford. An increase in demand for body cameras caused a roughly 6-week training delay for Rockford police officers. Training is expected to take place the first week of October. So this picture is who they chose to. We gotta educate our children better. We got
They got swastikas on buildings. Do you know that? Your town?
Oh yeah, it's Rockford. It's Rockford. Yeah.
I know this.
Yeah, no, yeah. I'm not surprised.
But yeah, right in the middle in the structure. It's built into the structure.
No, yeah, I wouldn't. I'm not surprised at all. It's the type of city that this is, type of county that it is.
But yeah, check it out. It's 7th Street and
Okay. We have to look into it.
Fuck all that shit,
No, yeah, that's a fact. Yeah,
It's been there for centuries.
yeah, that's it. Tell you a lot about this country. You have a good night. That's the whole story. That's the story ends like this. Wow. Wow, the story ends like this. Uh, this body cameras thing is very loaded. See, the problem is that the body cameras are first we've had interactions with police officers and police departments in which officers have turned off their body cameras as they ensued to use brute force and to use violence against people. There's also been times we've been around where officers have I would say like like shielded or blocked body cameras times that we've been around. So one of the thing one this is the problem. The body cameras and the video footage that's on the body cameras cannot be solely at the disposal of the police department. That's how we get into just another them having another instrument that they can use to paint a false narrative, because that's what can be happening. That's what has happened usually with body cameras is people see the footage. First, people couldn't see the footage. Now they see the footage, but when they see the footage, the police department still tells them what they are seeing instead of and the police department decides when they can see it. The police here we just seen recently where a Winnebago County Sheriff deputy, when they released the footage of the murder of Faustin Guaitigo, the county sheriff Gary Caruana narrated the murder. He narrated the murder. He narrated the murder like he was Morgan Freeman in a movie. Every time a pivotal part came, he told you what happened. He told you what to think about what happened. He did it subconsciously. He didn't just do it blatantly because that is the nature of the type of racist politician that exists here, because that's what a sheriff is a politician. And so he tells you what to think in all these different pivotal moments of this video footage that you're watching. And so that's one half of it that I'm speaking about, that we can't just be think that just because body cameras are here that, okay, that's good. We need to have the community has to have power over this footage. The community has to be able to see this footage. The community has to be able to find out when the footage has been deleted. It has to be people outside of the police with this footage. Because right now we have dash camera video footage that year after year is withheld from the community. Joy Lambert, and this is the Winnebago County Sheriff Deputy, but what Joy Lambert was killed in a car accident when a high-speed pursuit took place in 2016, and it was just 2 weeks ago that they finally released the video footage. Because even though they have video footage and they have filmed it, the community and the people didn't have control of it. The institution had control of it. So it was just another instrument that at their disposal in this game, this sick game that they play, this sick game of power that they play. And so, but then the other half of it is that now that they do start having body cameras, and once we do start trying to build ways to have more power about the video footage and how we get the footage and making sure that it's the accurate footage. The other thing that we have to do is we have to heighten the awareness and the consciousness of the people in the city, because we are also at a place where, unfortunately, once the video footage comes out, we may have to see 10 people killed by the Rockford Police Department in the span of 2 or 3 years or 3 or 4 years before people truly understand the gravity of what's going on, because of how far behind we are, because of how far back we are. We can't be selective about these things. We can't wait for it to be our brother or our sister or our son or our daughter or our grandparent or our uncle or our niece or us individually who is shot by a police officer, who is assaulted by a police officer, who is falsely arrested by a police officer. We have to understand that there's enough people who have already dealt with these things, who have already been victimized and traumatized, that we don't need any more people to be examples of it. We don't need any more people to be able to give stories and give testimonies. We can reach back to the very beginning, whether it be in the 1980, 1970, and we can pull the strength that's from each one of these events, police terrorism, mass incarceration, and racial injustice that have taken place in the streets we walk today, in the city that we live in today, and pull strength from each one of those things. Pull strength from the stories and the things that happened in the 70s, in the 80s, in the 90s, in the 2000s, in the 2010s. And then we can manifest that power to advocate for justice for the people who have cases currently open right now. When Faustin Guaitigo, it's not a case open on him, it's a case open on the lynching of him and Faustin Guaitigo, a case that's open in the shooting of Jose Gonzalez Jr., a case that is open in the high-speed pursuit that the fork-tongued Winnebago County State's Attorney Jay Hanley refuses to call a high-speed pursuit that led to the death of Raymond Jackson. Those three incidents of police terrorism are all currently still open in investigation. And so inevitably there will be another manifestation of this police terrorism. Excuse me, mass incarceration and racial injustice. There will be another manifestation of a microaggression of it, and someone else will be victimized, somebody else will be shot, someone else will be tased to death, or someone else will be beat like Denzel Duvant was beat, or someone else will die inside of the Winnebago County Jail because of the conditions and because of the lack of the lack of care that is given to the people in there. But in the meantime, as we allow the sands of time to flow and to wait for that event to happen, not that we are wanting it to happen, but we are understanding that it is inevitable until the circumstances that lead to these things happening change. As we sit and we wait for that, we have to advocate for the people who have just had these things happen to them, who are still currently faces for this struggle, who are still currently faces for these issues. Because what happens is, as time passes, people do get less lethargic about it. People do care less about it. And so we are still in this year, in 2021, where Denzel Duvant was brutally assaulted and brutally beat. Every day, find a way to share the picture of Denzel Duvant. We have it on the page. We have to do a better job of sharing that picture regularly. But share that picture of Denzel Duvant and the story of Denzel Duvant on some type of social media platform. Have a conversation with somebody you haven't had a conversation with before about the things that happened to Denzel Duvant and the implications that has on us as a community. The same thing, Jose Gonzalez Jr. was shot April 11, 2021. Faustin Guaitigo was murdered April 10th, 2021. Raymond Jackson died after a high-speed pursuit in this city on April 25th, 2021. These are all things that happened in this city in this year. And none of the causes that led to those things happening have even been tried to be addressed. So, in the understanding that since they have not tried to be addressed, that the causes have not tried to be addressed, that the effects will happen again, will manifest themselves again, we have to advocate for the people who have felt the effects of these things. So that way we can be strengthened. So that way we can be strengthened when it's time to deal with the next people who are victimized by these things. And so, again, this was just I wanted to go through and read this story. I really do think it's a shame that this is the picture that they chose to use for the body cameras. And this is exactly what, if Carla Red is made the chief of police, this is what it'll be for this. Don't worry that it's a 6-week delay on the body cameras. We got black people wearing them. Don't worry that we beat Denzel Duvant, and that's on film. That we shot Tyrus Jones, and that's on film. That it's a film somewhere, the chase that led to the death of Raymond Jackson. Never mind that that's already on film. And so it's clear the problem is not does not lie in this extra element of these police officers thinking that the things that they are doing will be filmed. We watched on May 30th as they brutalized people with cameras right there like they were on a movie set. We watched on May 30th as they tear gassed and pepper sprayed people like they were on the set of Saving Private Ryan. And we watched as they tased people that had their hands up while people's camera phones and video phones was out. Like they was at a concert. We watched them do those things. They did not do those things with any type of fear of consequences or fear of accountability or fear of reprimand. They did those things for the camera. Some of them probably were smiling for the camera. And so as a community, we have to not allow the technology, as a community, we have to not allow the technology to be more advanced than our empathy and our humanity. As a community, we cannot allow for the technology to be more advanced than our humanity and our empathy. So when when the next one of these videos comes out in 2022, or at the end of 2021, in the winter of 2021, of even if it's these two black officers, even if it's some black officers, because there's black officers out here that done murdered people, that done shot people, that done destroyed people's lives, that done led to help with mass incarceration, that done help with police terrorism. It's black people out here that done assisted in racial injustice. When we see the manifestation of police terrorism, mass incarceration, and racial injustice on camera, on our phones, inside our homes, inside our cars, inside our TVs, that is not the moment to look away. That is not the moment to try to scroll to the next thing that's on the timeline. That is not the moment to try to pull up HBO Max or pull up Netflix and see what new movie Martin Lawrence or Will Smith got out. That is the moment in which you see that something has happened. It's been shown to you again that this has happened. It does not matter if the person that you are seeing on there is somebody that you only Facebook friends with and you ain't close with them. It don't matter if the person you seeing on there is a strange family member. It don't matter if the person you seeing on there is somebody you never ever heard about or seen in your life. When we see this police terrorism, mass incarceration, and racial injustice in 4K on our phones, when these body cameras come out, we have to be prepared to have action. We have to be prepared to have equal and opposite reaction to the things that are being done by the state. We cannot allow ourselves to normalize seeing our children murdered, to normalize seeing our parents murdered, to normalize seeing our uncles or our aunts murdered. And that is what will happen if we allow for the technology to be more advanced than our humanity and our empathy. And again, the deeper that we get with these things, if we allow to be 4 years or 5 years before, and then we see a video that we think is egregious enough for us to try to get up off our ass and do something, it'll be 4 years, 5 years too late. We have to begin from this moment forward, and we have done that from this moment as a community, not just anybody individually or any single organization. As a community and as different collectives, we have set a precedent that we are not reverting back to what Rockford used to be like. We are not reverting back to what Winnebago County used to be like. We are not reverting back to what the political consciousness of this city used to be like. But we have to continue to advance with that. We have to continue to try to make progress with that. We cannot become stagnant. And that's why these body cameras can be this far delayed, because of the stagnancy of the political consciousness in the community. That's why we can be these many months removed from Jose Gonzalez Jr., a 19-year-old being shot while running away, and not have the findings released to the community because of the political stagnantness of the consciousness of the community. And so we have to move forward. And it's our duty and our obligation as an organization to try to hurry up that moving forward, to try to hurry up that progress, to not be okay with the pace at which we are moving, but to want to move at a more vigorous pace. And so again, Jose Gonzalez Jr., 19 years old, shot while running away. We got 16 memorials all day. I've been out here putting chalk on these memorials. People walking back and forth and by and looking at the names of the faces of the people who've been murdered by the police out here. People who died inside of the jail out here. And thinking about, in truth, you know, even though it hasn't manifested itself yet, in truth, the amount of power that are on these memorials. Not because of the memorials themselves that we have put up, but because of the story that is behind each one of these memorials, because of the pain, because of the struggle, because of the perseverance that is behind each one of these people and each one of these people's loved ones and family members. And it's our duty to make sure that those things are not going to waste and not being taken for granted. And all of these things become tenfold once these body cameras begin to roll out, once this video footage begins to roll out. And we have to be prepared to struggle to get the video footage. We have to be prepared to struggle more adamantly going forward in every aspect. This was published at 5:07 a.m. on August 6, 2021. All right. Thank you, Jeff Coakley. Thank you. Happy we could hear that. And I don't want to keep it to strictly Rockford Register Star stories all the time. We will also talk about. We will also do this with more national stories and maybe stories that aren't more mainstream, that have connections to these issues. But for now, gonna wrap this up. We're gonna do some more things here tonight. We outside.